Before we dive into this nightmare, hit subscribe, like the video, and drop a comment if you're ready to walk straight into the darkest corners of the human mind. Because once this story starts, there's no turning back. Red and blue lights tore through the Florida night as patrol cars screamed down empty streets. The radio chatter was frantic, overlapping voices calling out locations, descriptions, fragments of fear. Somewhere in Cape Coral, 2 women were already dead, and the man responsible was still moving. It began quietly, too quietly. Just hours earlier, police had responded to a call about a woman found unresponsive inside her home. The house looked almost peaceful from the outside. No broken windows, no signs of forced entry. Inside, officers found 35-year-old Kristine Melton lying still, her life taken while she slept. There was no weapon left behind, no obvious struggle. Whoever did this hadn't rushed, they'd taken their time. Then came the second call. A passerby reported a body on the side of the road. At first, officers thought it might be a hit and run, but as headlights cut across the asphalt, the truth came into focus. Diane Ruiz, 43, had been killed in a way that suggested rage, control, and intent. Tire marks told a story no one wanted to finish reading. 2 women, 2 scenes, no connection. At least, not yet. Detectives worked fast, combing through Kristine's home. Her car was gone. That detail snapped everything into focus. This wasn't random. This was a moving crime scene. Witnesses began calling in. A man had been seen driving erratically. Another reported a stranger asking for directions. His smile calm, almost charming. Too charming. Surveillance footage soon confirmed it. A stolen vehicle cruising through neighborhoods like nothing was wrong. And then, as officers tightened the net, something happened that stunned even seasoned investigators. The suspect made a phone call, not to a lawyer, not to the police, to his father. On the other end of the line, the man identified himself calmly. His voice wasn't panicked, it wasn't shaken, it was steady, almost proud. He described what he had done, what he had enjoyed with chilling detail. He spoke about the women as if they were moments, not lives, as if the crimes were stories he couldn't wait to tell. The father listened, frozen, realizing the horror of what he was hearing. This wasn't a confession whispered in fear. This was a performance. Police were alerted immediately. The name came through dispatch: Wade Wilson. Mugshots surfaced quickly. Tattoos, sharp features, a face that didn't match the brutality of the crimes. Online, people would later call him the handsome devil. But that night, law enforcement saw only one thing: a predator who hadn't finished being dangerous. As officers closed in on his last known location, a final update crackled over the radio. The stolen car had been spotted. The suspect was still inside. But when they approached the vehicle and opened the door, what they found inside wasn't just evidence of murder. It was proof that Wade Wilson had been planning far worse. The car was still warm when officers reached it, parked crookedly near a quiet intersection. Inside, they found more than stolen property. They were personal items that didn't belong to either victim, a phone buzzing with missed calls, and a chilling calm that suggested the driver hadn't fled far. Wade Wilson hadn't abandoned the vehicle in panic. He'd left it like someone stepping away from a finished task. A manhunt spread across the county. Helicopters swept low over canals and backyards, while patrol units fanned out through neighborhoods where porch lights flicked on and doors locked tight. The idea that a killer could blend so easily into the night unsettled everyone listening to the police scanner.
Investigators retraced Wade's movements hour by hour. At a bar the night before the first murder, witnesses remembered him clearly. He was friendly, funny, the kind of man who made people feel seen. Kristine Melton had met him there. No one recalled an argument, no warning signs. He'd followed her home like it was the most natural thing in the world. Detectives dug into Wade's past and found a trail of violence that hadn't yet ended in murder. Assault charges, erratic behavior, moments where rage slipped through the cracks of his charm. But what stood out most was how easily people trusted him. Friends described him as magnetic. Strangers let him into their cars. That ability to disarm was his most dangerous weapon. The phone call to his father became the centerpiece of the investigation. Detectives listened to the recording in silence. Wade's voice didn't shake. He didn't ask for forgiveness. He spoke as if he were recounting a wild night out, offering details no one had asked for. When his father tried to reason with him, Wade laughed. That laughter echoed through the interrogation room long after the audio stopped. As officers tracked leads, reports came in that Wade had been seen asking for rides, telling different versions of the same story. In one, he was a stranded traveler. In another, a man escaping a bad relationship. Each time, he wore the same calm expression, the same convincing smile. Then came a critical break. A woman called 911, her voice trembling. A man matching the suspect's description had approached her, asking for help. She noticed something off in his eyes, too focused, too empty. When she refused to let him into her car, he didn't argue. He just stared, then walked away. Detectives realized how close they had come to a third victim. Hours later, Wade was spotted again, this time near a busy roadway. Officers moved in cautiously, weapons drawn. When they finally took him into custody, he didn't resist. He lay on the ground, hands behind his back, staring up at the sky as if the chase had bored him. In custody, he asked only one question: whether people were talking about him yet. As detectives prepared for interrogation, they believed the worst was over. They had the suspect, they had the evidence, they had the confession. What they didn't know was that Wade Wilson still hadn't told them everything. And what he was about to reveal would make even hardened investigators question whether they'd stopped him in time. Inside the interrogation room, the air felt heavy, like it was waiting for something to break. Wade Wilson sat relaxed in his chair, hands folded, posture loose. He looked less like a man accused of two brutal murders and more like someone waiting for an interview to begin. When detectives asked him why he'd called his father, he smiled and said he didn't want the story getting messed up. What followed was a slow, calculated unraveling. Wade spoke about the first murder with disturbing detachment. He described gaining trust, the quiet of the house, the moment control shifted completely into his hands. There was no remorse in his voice, only ownership. When detectives pressed him on Diane Ruiz, his tone changed slightly, not with guilt, but with irritation, as if recalling an inconvenience. He admitted to picking her up, admitted to killing her, and admitted he kept driving afterward, watching the road as if nothing had happened. Investigators searched for motive, rage, revenge, desperation, but found none that fit cleanly. Wade didn't kill out of necessity. He killed because he wanted to. That truth settled over the room like a verdict no jury needed to hear. As the case went public, the reaction stunned even prosecutors. Wade's mugshot spread online, and with it came comments that made families of the victims sick. Strangers called him attractive, fascinating, misunderstood. Letters poured into the jail, some offering support, others affection. The same charm that had disarmed his victims was now working through a screen. In court, the evidence was overwhelming. Surveillance footage, DNA, his own words. The jury didn't deliberate long. Guilty on all counts. During sentencing, the family spoke. They talked about empty chairs at dinner tables, unanswered calls, birthdays that would never be celebrated again. Wade listened quietly, occasionally glancing toward the gallery, as if searching for a familiar face. When given a chance to speak, he said very little. No apology, no explanation, just a flat statement that he had lived his life his way. The judge's words were final, describing the crimes as cruel, calculated, and beyond redemption. Wade Wilson was sentenced to death. For most cases, that would be the end.
But this one refused to stay buried. Months later, investigators reviewing old tips noticed something unsettling. During the manhunt, there had been reports of a similar encounter weeks earlier. Another woman approached by a man asking for help, another refusal, another cold stare. At the time, it hadn't been connected. Now, it raised a question no one wanted to answer. Had Wade been practicing? The official record lists 2 victims, 2 names, 2 lives stolen. But the shadows around the case suggest something darker. Moments where fate or instinct stepped in just in time. Wade Wilson sits behind bars, his smile dulled by concrete walls and time. To the world, he's a convicted killer, a headline, a cautionary tale. But to those who studied him closely, he's something far more disturbing, a reminder that evil doesn't always look the part. Sometimes it asks for directions. And if this story stayed with you, if it made you uneasy in the way true crime should, make sure you're subscribed, because the next case waiting in the dark is even harder to forget.